Hi, my name is Judie Vankooiman, and you're watching Life Issues. This month's show is about FKO Afterschool, and my guest is Debbie Kneeland Keegan, who I have known her and her family for many years, and she does amazing things with this awesome program. Welcome, Deb.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. How long has FKO been in existence?
So we opened FKO in 1984, October 1984, 36 years.
Wow, so that's
Yeah.
awesome. And it was a family business to begin with, right?
Yeah, so it was an idea that became based on a conversation my sister Connie, who was a teacher. At the time, she worked in a parochial school here in Winthrop. Now she's a fourth grade teacher in the public sector, the public schools. And she and I were both talking about the need in the community for kids during the after school hours. And so, so we said, we kind of did some research, and back in the 80s, there was a term called latchkey children. And that was a term that defined those kids that would have a key on them because their families were going to work. And it was when women were entering the workforce and when two families had to work. And so she and I decided to launch. It was kind of like a call to action, this after-school program in our community. We started in the basement of the American Legion Hall.
Wow.
And then within less than a year, the pastor at St. John's Evangelist invited us to come in and do our work there. So hence, in 1985, we formed a nonprofit, a public charity, and we became licensed by the Department of Early Education and Care that year too. I think we were like the second licensed provider in the Commonwealth. Yeah.
All right. And then how many sites do you have, and are they all the same type of setup?
So we presently, we've grown tremendously from 5 children to about 1,500 right now, and we presently have 18 sites. So we're in 5 communities. We're in the communities of Chelsea, Everett, Peabody, Winthrop, and Revere. And we have 16 sites housed in the public schools, and then 2 sites that are community-based sites.
Okay, nice. And what are the ages of the children that attend FKO After School?
So we are a licensed school-age provider, which means we provide care for children ages 5, those that are in kindergarten, through grade 8, so up to age 13 or 14.
Okay. And what is for kids only after school doing during this difficult time in everyone's lives? What have you been doing? Still up and running, and what,
Yeah. So in March, when the governor closed schools and shut down childcare as well, he asked a specific number of us to remain open as emergency childcare providers. Mm-hmm. So FKO opened 2 sites, one in the city of Revere and one in Everett, to provide care for essential workers, including Winthrop, those that worked in Winthrop, and for emergency purpose. And so we opened then, and we then on July 6th, the governor reopened childcare and shut down emergency childcare so that we could reopen as our new norm for working families. And so we've then opened all of our sites that we possibly could in all communities. So we essentially really have never stopped. In the beginning, it was purely a trial and error type of program. Like, we kind of experimented ourselves because there really weren't any public health social guidelines at the time. And then starting July, we had specific health and safety guidelines, and we worked very closely with our local Board of Health. So we've been serving probably 50% of the capacity we used to serve, and for primarily working families that work outside the home or even inside the home, or children that have high needs during these days that we're in. Yeah.
Good for you guys.
Yeah.
And what is your mission?
So our mission is really to support the out-of-school time lives of children and to really empower them to love, learn, and grow and give back to the world. We say, leave your print on this world. So that's what we do.
Sweet. And speaking of which, FKO has what is called a heart print. And what is that?
So the heart print. So that's something, that's our logo. And I actually have my mask here, my heart print.
Yeah.
And that means like the mark that you leave on this world, which is sort of like your thumbprint that you can see, your fingerprint, but your heart print you can feel. And so we teach children that they have the opportunity right now and the gift to leave their heart print on this world in many different ways. And so that is like kind of the core of everything we do for kids.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what are your core programs?
So our core programs are pre-COVID, for like the past 35 years or so. We run year-round licensed programs. So we're licensed by the Department of Early Education and Care. And so we run after school. So when the school bell rings, we open our doors until 6 p.m. And then on school vacations, when school is not in session, we operate from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then in the summertime, we open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So we close only 16 days a year, and those are from the primary holidays, of course. And the reason being is we recognize that many of our families are working outside the home, and they rely upon us as a partner and collaborator in helping them raise their children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good. That's nice. And what are FKO values?
So our values are to appreciate differences, embrace holistic learning. We believe that children learn through many different ways, to value kindness, and also to collaborate with others. So those are our values.
Very important ones, yes. And what is project-based learning?
Project-based learning. So that is our approach to learning. So what we try to do is bring learning alive that they learn during the school day through like hands-on experiential learning that really children lead. So what happens is we give them sometimes a question. So for example, we might say, one of the things we did was have them, how would you develop your own business? And what would that look like? And what business matters to you? And the kids put their heads on, and they talked about what they love. And one group actually decided to do an ice cream business. And they developed this ice cream shop, and they have to brainstorm, like build a budget, and what would it look like, and how would they market it? And then how would they like share this with the community? So that's project-based learning. Again, is more about like really bringing meaningful life experiences to what you learned in your school day classroom.
Wow,
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
And what is enrichment opportunities?
Enrichment is very much that as well. And prior to COVID, we were able to bring in specialists to help like augment and enhance what we do with children. So we could bring in the yoga teacher or the dance teacher or the science specialist. And now during COVID, because we're licensed, we have to really minimize, for mitigation purpose, intermingling. So our specialists aren't able to come in at this present time. And so instead what we're doing is we're doing a lot of professional development with our own staff and empowering them to be the specialists. And it's actually really been interesting to see like the skills and the talents that our staff have that we were never able to used before, because we would bring in outside specialists, and now they are the specialists, and they actually like that. So it has its pluses, of course, as well as like its challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. And why is it important for FKO to serve healthy food throughout the day?
So we especially during this past, always, but during the past summer, we provide breakfast, lunch, and snack. And we believe, and during after school hours, we always provide a healthy snack. And we believe that's because we have to have our minds ready and our bodies ready to learn. And so we know what happens when a child is hungry, how that shuts down the brain. And we know what happens when their bodies aren't active as well, right? So we work with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Ed. We have a contract with the department to provide healthy snack options. During COVID, we have been doing boxed lunches, so in order to like make sure that, except of course the kids that have allergies or special limitations, but so every child has a boxed lunch so that there isn't that like sharing of food. But it's been working out pretty well, very successfully. We work with a really good vendor.
That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Good. And can you please tell us about social and emotional learning, what that is?
Yeah, so social and emotional learning, again, that's foundational work for us. And, you know, I always talk to my staff about, like, I think it's called the Maasai tribe. And when they greet each other on the street, they don't say, "Hi, how are you?" They always start with, "How are the children?" And I think, and that's social emotional learning, it's to really be self-aware of our emotions and being able to manage our emotions, as well as having social awareness and relationships with others, to help children learn responsible decision making, for example, and how to have self-control. So we work a lot on these core elements, and so that they're able to be ready to learn and be ready to be relatable with their peers and give back to the world. So we feel that social and emotional learning is core to everything. We open up our days with circle time, as they do in schools often. They have morning circle, we have afternoon circle. And throughout the day, we really embed all of this in what we do.
Cool. So, and what do you look for in hiring your staff?
Oh, so we're hiring right now. So we look for, you need to be 18 and in order to be a group leader and have some experience working with school-age children. And then we look for people that have a true love for children and understand child development, and also really want to be able to inspire children and teach them new skills. And so we find that a lot of our staff are looking to be school day teachers or social workers, nurses and caregivers. And so they start with us while they're going to college. And then our leadership team is comprised of those who want to work in with children, but in a different sector. So they may not want to be in the classroom for whatever reason, and they want to work with children during the after-school hours. Myself, I think about myself, I was a special ed teacher in my early days, and then I actually started here in Winthrop. I started an alternative high school here, and it was the first alternative high school. And I did that because I liked alternative education. You know, in the school day, it wasn't for me, and so I liked working in that alternative setting. And I find that a lot of my teachers and directors like this type of work, so they're giving back in a different way. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And there's a licensed social worker on staff. What is their role?
Yeah, so our social work team supports the children that may need specialized attention, and we call them after-school support plans. So in the school day, they're called individual education plans, and we have what's called, this is our own name, called after-school support plans, which are specialized plans to help accommodate children to be truly included in our program. So that may mean a lower ratio or one-on-one, or it could mean going to the dentist. It could mean that a healthy lunch, right? So there's so many things that our social workers do with the families. And they're an amazing support system to our teachers and our staff. And this is throughout what we call our Count Me In model, which is our model of inclusion. Prior to COVID, we did not believe in termination, suspensions, or expulsion. So we would have maybe take a break, and we have take a break areas. And now there are places where kids can go and sanitize and take a break for that purpose. But yeah, it's a tremendous support system for our teachers. Yeah.
That's cool. Good. And does FKO have any type of financial aid?
So yeah, so we are a blended funding stream model. nonprofit in that we do accept private fees, and the private fees are typically like $5 an hour. And then we have a contract with the Department of Early Education and Care to provide for lower economically working families. And this is a sliding fee. They're called child care vouchers, similar to housing vouchers. And that families with a designated need will get a voucher, and that family could take the voucher to FKO and pay a sliding fee. Fortunately, the state just informed us that any family that has a voucher will not have to pay their family fee. So until further notice. And to me, that was so comforting to be able to say that to my families, because they're under so much as it is. So we have that contract, and we also have a contract with the Department of Children and Families to provide for children that have open cases with the Department of Children and Families.
Okay.
So these could be children that are going through a hard time in their life, dealing with adverse childhood experiences. They could be suffering from homelessness, or maybe their parents are struggling with chemical dependence or mental health issues, and so their social worker will recommend that family and child to come to our program, and that's a free service to those children. And then we also have a lot of private funders, like we're a United Way affiliate, and they help support families. And then finally, our Helping Families, which you go to every year, thank you very much. Our Helping Families is our internal fundraiser, whereas 100% of the profits from that big gala that you go to and support goes to provide scholarships for families that may be on a wait list or may not qualify for a voucher for whatever reason. Yeah.
And you, speaking of fundraisers, you have an online one going on right now. Please tell us about that.
Yeah, so that actually just is closing down. So that was our summer fundraiser.
Okay.
And I just want to say thank you to those people that donated. We're so generous. And that provided all the PPE stuff that we had to buy, which is very costly. We lowered the ratios in our classroom. We had no more than 10 students together, children, and no intermingling. We set up tents everywhere. And so that helped pay for the tents so they could have fresh air, because we feel that fresh air right now is really, really important, right?
Definitely.
And so they helped fund for those tents, and so many other things. Oh, we gave every child their own individual big bins with their own individual materials that they could play with, even though we always say share. Now we're saying, well, you can't share,
right?
But you can play side by side, right? So it's been okay. The kids are just so open, and it's just really been nice to watch. But people have supported those learning kits, which is nice. It was like $25 a donation. So that's how we did the summer, and now we're going to start a new one for our fall semester.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. All right. And you have something exciting happening in Winthrop. Would you like to share and tell us about that?
Oh yeah. So I know. With all of this, right? So prior to the pandemic, after, oh my gosh, so many years, well, let's put it this way, since 1984, we've had 17 homes in this community, and that's because of the amazing partners that we have here. I mean, it's really a village in this community, right? And so the school department has been phenomenal in sharing space with us. The town has been really good. We're at the E.B. Newton School now, given that schools have closed down. Our faith-based groups have been great. We've been at St. John's Episcopal and the Methodist and St. John's Evangelist and the Congregation. We've been everywhere. So it's like 17 different homes. And then finally one day my board was like, let's start thinking about having a home of our own. And we launched this capital project going back 8 years ago. And it all came to fruition one day when this lovely family in town were selling their home, and we were able to purchase this home and repurpose it for it to be an after-school program for 140 school-age children. So we got the financing secured, and we hope to be open in the spring if all goes as well. So it's going to be an amazing program. It's going to be all state-of-the-art green solar energy. We will have a nutrition cafe. We'll have a teaching kitchen. We will have a yoga dance room and a STEM lab. We will have a technology space. and a library. We're naming the library after Mrs. Levesque because she was a librarian, and so that we're going to name that after her. We have a half-court gym with the 3-point line on the second floor. So it's going to be really special. We're happy about it.
It's almost similar, like your Revere.
Very much like
site.
Revere. So
Okay.
Revere is very modern. The one that we built in Revere is very like modern. This is going to retain the look and integrity of the home. And Frank Constantino has helped us with the painting selection. And anybody that knows Frank is amazing, right? So we're retaining the front of the house, and that was a lot of work in itself. But we'll be able to still see that house in the front, which is nice.
And the stained glass that was in the front.
And the stained glass, and the architectural integrity of the roofs and the windows, and so our architect has been doing a lot of work on that as well. It's great.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Deb, if anyone has any questions about FKO After School, can you please give us the contact info?
Yep, so our website is FKO for Kids Only After School, and they can go there and ask as many questions as they want, or they can private message me, and we'll get right back to them with any questions. And I just want to say, we're trying to continue our work, and we know that the schools in Winthrop, for example, is going 100% virtual. Chelsea's 100% virtual. Everett's 100%. Revere's 100% virtual. So PBD is a hybrid right now. But what we're trying to do is support our families that must work during the school day hours so that all children have equal opportunity for learning, and that families have respite and support as they need, right? Because we're all partners in this. And so we are going to be open during the school day to help. And again, we're working closely with the schools to make sure we have good internet access and the students are outfitted properly, but also to give them some real good socializing experiences in the best way we know how. So they will get fresh air and they will have healthy snack, and we'll be able to really make sure that they're present in school, they're not truant, and they get, we can't profess that we're going to have them get good grades, but we'll do our best we can to support the families, and then we'll have after-school programs as well.
Families must be so ecstatic about that, because it's hard, especially parents that have to take time off from work, or are working from home or whatever, and they're trying to make sure their kids are on the computer with the teachers, and must be very hectic.
Yeah, our phone has not stopped ringing. Yeah, it's obvious that families are going to need to work together, and we're there to help them. That's what we do. And it's great because the schools are working with us as well. They recognize that even though it's going to be virtual, that the students are going to need to have other supports, especially for those families that have to work. And many of those families have to work outside. If you're in the retail industry or in the food industry, right, or the service industry, you can't do your work remotely, right? So every child needs to have the same, this is an equity issue, and every child needs to have the same opportunity.
Okay. I'm sorry, but that's all the time that we have. Thank you for all you do for those in need, Debbie. And I'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions. Please send them to lifeissuestv@gmail.com. And remember, live each day to the fullest and celebrate life.
It has been said, if we wish to create a lasting peace, we must begin with the children. Together, we share the abundant joys of free expression, the gratitudes of collaboration, and the trying challenges of a new age. In a family, well-being is defined by that of its individuals, and success by contribution to the whole. Our mission is to help children find their path towards their own unique contributions to a more peaceful world.